Setting the scene. Salem, 1692. By the light of the fire, 9-year-old Betty and 11-year-old Abigail were telling fortunes. English superstition dictated that you should break an egg into a glass of water and wait for it to set before drinking. The profession of your future husband may be indicated by the egg silhouette: a pitchfork, a farmer, an anchor, and a sailor. Folktale promised that this would continue. The two girls were hesitant yet intrigued because the Puritan church condemned the practice. What magic might predict their spouse? The egg cracked, landed, and formed. In the glass, of a coffin shape began to take shape. Abigail had fits, and Betty did too. They were startled and struck dumb, choking and convulsing as they violently twisted their limbs. What unusual disease? Then Anne and Elizabeth began to exhibit similarly unusual behavior. They snuck up behind chairs and stools, gesticulated aggressively, and spoke clearly. The girls made bizarre animalistic noises while twisting and twitching and barking like dogs. They made motions with their arms as if they were ready to fly. Salem's girls, rumors whispered, were bewitched. Suspicions arise amidst the chaos. Witchcraft rumors swept across Salem village. Salem residents accused their neighbors of having pets or kids. Some claimed to have found poppets or familiar of witches. Mercy Lewis and Ann Putnam Jr. begged to see witches soaring through the wintry mist. Tituba insisted she was capable of having relations with the devil. In midair, specters or spirits were observed. Witches demanded that the sixth sign of the devil's book when they manifested in their dreams. What else did the dark art accomplish? If the elderly become blind, was it not by bewitching? Disease and infirmity are both believed to be the result of black magic. The afflicted and the attempts of their rebirth. The afflicted girls received ointment from the Paris household, but the treatments did not work to heal them. Was there a natural remedy for an artificial illness? Insensitive to salves or prayers, Betty and Abigail continued to flinch, squat, and gabble. Reverend Cotton Mather's memorable providences relating to witchcrafts and possession, whose description of two bewitched children matched Salem's own, was consulted by Reverend Paris. Even Dr. Williams Griggs quickly agreed that Betty and Abigail were under an evil hand, confirming Paris's growing belief that the devil was in control of the little girls. Mercy Lewis, Mary Warren, and Mary Walcott quickly reported their symptoms, with their bodies bending and twisting and their arms untied. The new pastor, it had seemed, was powerless against the vile forces of the dark. Deceit and betrayal commenced the trials. The friends of Betty and Abigail began to exhibit the same signs, declaring that they too had been possessed. They included Mercy Lewis, Mary Warren, Ann Putnam Jr., Elizabeth Booth, Elizabeth Hubbard, and a few others. During the Salem witch trials, these little girls emerged as the major accusers, culminating to the execution of 19 individuals. Betty and Abigail divulged that Tituba, Sarah Good, and Sarah Osborne were the three witches at Salem. After being prompted to identify the cause of their misery, 3 social outcasts, a slave, a longtime beggar, and a scandalized widow were the first 3 women charged. Good and Osborne didn't go to church, which turned out to be significant when it came time to sentence them. Suspected witches were hauled into court after being accused and interrogated. Every trial was largely the same. Spectral evidence would be used by the accusers to prove the defendant's involvement in the occult. In order to get them to sign the devil's book, they would say that the spectra of the witch had appeared to them and was biting, pinching, and choking them. The accusers would also assert that the ghost was distressing them in court. They would then go on to put an Oscar-worthy performance by having fits that would only end when their tormentor caressed them. During the witch trials, it was very impossible for someone to establish their innocence because ghostly evidence was admitted in court. The hanging tree. Proctor's Ledge saw the hanging of 19 people. In its fissure, their remains had been brutally dumped. The first witches to be hanged at Proctor's Ledge were Bridget Bishop, Sarah Good, Elizabeth Howe, Susanna Martin, Rebecca Nurse, and Sarah Wilde. But they wouldn't be the last. The Gallow Hill Project proved that Proctor's Ledge, not Gallows Hill, was where Salem's executions took place. Contrary to popular belief, Proctor's Ledge, a location on the outskirts of Salem, allowed for an open-air viewing of the witchcraft executions. The Witch House. The initial hearings of the trial took place at the Witch House. Even though Judge Jonathan Corwin put 19 people accused of witchcraft to death, The witch house itself did not house any witches. The witch house was witness to tragedy from 1684 to 1690. 5 more children were born to Jonathan and Elizabeth Corwin, but they all passed away before their first birthday. John, a 1684 baby who passed away at 9 weeks old. 6 months after her birth in 1685, Margaret Corwin passed away. Although Anna Corwin, who was born in 1687, survived longer than her siblings, she passed very young at the age of 19. By the year 1690, 2 more people would pass away, Jonathan Corwin Jr. in his 3rd month and Herbert in his 8th week. And so, the wronged souls exacted vengeance. The Ghost of Salem. Over the years, numerous residents and tourists to Proctor's Ledge have each had their fair share of paranormal encounters. As a result of these atrocities, numerous accounts claim, among other things, that there is a black energy that can be felt in and around the location. The ledge and other parts of Salem are frequented by sightings of the infamous Lady in White. She typically only appears for a very brief moment before disappearing. Some people claim to have heard frightening, ghostly wails, along with other images of weird glowing lights and hovering orbs. Cold spots have also been observed. Many people believe that various apparitions belonging to the 19 innocent Salem witch trials victims have made their home in this cleft. Why they happened. Asthma, encephalitis, Lyme disease, epilepsy, child abuse, delusional psychosis, or convulsive egotism, the latter of which is a disease brought on by eating bread or cereal made of rye that has been infected with the fungus ergot and can cause vomiting, choking, fits, hallucinations, and the sensation of something crawling on one, have all been hypothesized as possible causes of the strange behavior. Although nothing is concrete, this has to be one of the darkest moments of human delusion and despair. That is it for today. Let us know what you think of the trials in the comments below.